Who better than me?
Seasons, greetings and salutations, and welcome to another, but most importantly, the final episode of the Hardcore Casual of 2021 with your boy, Bass the Kid. Please like and subscribe, share the vid, Twitter, WhatsApp, whatever social media you're using, TikTok, whatever, yeah? Share the video out. Now, I wasn't planning on doing anything before New Year's Day. I had a little roundup video that I was planning on doing of like the week's news and just the year as a whole. But as we all know, yesterday a bit of news came out which demanded I kind of speak about it. I tried to hold off for 2 days, but nah, we got to get into it right now. So, ultimately, we talking about Tyson Fury and Dillian Whyte and the WBC mandating that the split between the two of them will be 80-20 in Tyson Fury's favor, and that the fight has to be agreed by January the 11th, and if it's not, then purse bids will be invited after that. Now, first things first, the fact that they've mentioned the split means that negotiations can kind of go ahead in better faith than previously, because there was miles apart in valuation. You had Top Rank side was looking 80-20, you had Dillian and Eddie Hearn's side, Matchroom was looking closer to like sort of the 55-45. I don't ever think they was truly expecting that, but that's kind of the ballpark they was looking at, so I'm assuming probably between 35 and 40%. Now, the WBC, just when you think that they can't get any worse, they go on top themselves. They'll be like, hold my beer. Literally, that is how they operate in this day and age. And I'm gonna try keep language down and everything for this one, but they are a joke. I almost think they're as bad as the WBA. Like, literally, the only difference between the two of them is one's got a clean boxing program, which they don't even stick to, and the other one hasn't. But they both make up belts for the sake of it. They both try to attach their name to everything. They were both the inaugural sanctioning bodies. I guess overall WBA, then WBC came in, and then it was the IBF, and then the WBO, whatever. But look, it's a joke, yeah? 80-20. Now, okay, let's look at a couple metrics that we can use to break this down, right? So they're saying that based on the difference in purses in their most recent fights, for example, okay, cool. So we know that Dillian Whyte got, I believe it was 4 or just a bit more than 4 million for his very last Povetkin fight. Okay, so he may have declared 300,000 or whatever to taxes or British Board of Boxing Control or whomever, but realistically we all know what it was. Like, there was enough reports out there stipulating what he got paid for that fight on the zone, right? Previous fight to that, the other fight with Povetkin, the first one, he had a guarantee of 4 million plus, I believe it was 60% of the pay-per-view upside. Now, I'm not sure what the pay-per-view did, but I do know that from sources I have, that I think at the end of it he cleared about just over 6 million from what he was promised, and Povetkin got, I think it was 3.9 or something like that. I can fact check those at a later time, but that's the sources I have, yeah? Okay, so then the Marius Whyte fight. He got paid 1.5 million to face Marius Whyte on the Joshua undercard in Saudi Arabia. But he also had, I believe it was a 60% split, or like a 60% portion of the pay-per-view upside for his section. So ultimately he ended up making about, I think it was 2.7, between 2.7 2.9 million for that fight. Previous fight to that was the Oscar Rivas fight. Now Oscar Rivas got £1 million for that fight, and Dillian had, from what I can remember, it was a 1.5 million guarantee plus 60% of the pay-per-view. I think he did about 260k, so I think he made about 2.5 to 3 million for that fight, right? So okay, so we're looking, say if we, let's round it up, so let's say 2.5 just to be conservative, and another 2.5 for okay, we're gonna round down, yeah, so that's 5 million there. Then you've got 6 million for the Povetkin, so that's what, that's 11 million, plus you got another 4 or whatever, that's about 15 million right there. Okay, so now 15 million, let's look at Tyson Fury's last 4 purses. So the last Wilder fight, he got given a guarantee of $6 million. So if we're doing rough conversions, let's say $6 million is about 4.2, let's say 4.2 million pounds, yeah. So now there was a bit, he managed to get some pay-per-view upside on this one prior to the other fight, so we will say, let's call it $9 million, yeah. Let's say he made $9 million, which ultimately works out to about 6.87 million pounds. Let's say 7 million, let's just round it up for him, 7 million pounds there. Right, the fight before that, now we know he made $30 million for that fight. Both him and Deontay Wilder made 30 million for that fight. The fight itself didn't generate enough for them to get pay-per-view upside, so that's all they both made. So what's 30 million in the conversion? What's that, about, let's say 22 or 23? Let's say 23. So that's 30, so that's 30 million pounds there, right? So far we're at double, yeah. He's made 30, Dillian's made 50. The Tom, what was it? No, it was Otto Volume was the next fight, and he had a guaranteed purse for the Otto Volume fight of $1 million. Now this is at the same time when he was supposed to fight Dillian Whyte for the diamond belt, and then backed out and said, I'm not going to do that. Now we know he had a guarantee within his Top Rank contract for however, well, they had a guarantee. I'm not sure how much it was per fight, because I know that his money was contingent on having certain fights. So from not having the Dillian Whyte or a bigger high profile fight, I think he ended up negating some of the purse. I'm not sure how much, but I can only go by the purse that was declared, although it was rumored that he made about 12 million for the fight. But I can only go by that declared one, so I'm gonna be conservative for this moment and say that's 31 there, right? Now I know he made, I think it was about $15 million for the Schwartz fight. So if we drop that one down, we'll say that's about 11, yeah, roughly, give or take. So what are we at now? So we're at 42. So when we're looking at it, you've got, in fact, let's say call it 45, make it a bit easier, yeah. So you've got Dillian at 15, you've got Tyson Fury at 45 in their last 4 fights, roughly. So what's that? So he's made a third of the money that Fury's made. So what does that make? It's 33 and a third, right, against 66.6. So realistically, the split we should be looking at is about 65-35 or 66-33 or 66-34, 67-33, somewhere along there. Either way, that's just one argument. Now let's look at their marketability. All right, Well, factually speaking, and I'm not even going to bother show you the numbers, I'll let you guys Google this yourself. Dillian Whyte has sold more pay-per-views in the UK than Tyson Fury has. Throughout both their careers, you can check the numbers, Dillian Whyte's a bigger pay-per-view draw in the UK than Tyson Fury is. And I don't want to hear about, oh, but Tyson's fighting at 4 in the morning, because guess what, that was his choice. No one told him to go to America and rebrand himself and try to appeal to the people over there. Yeah, in the UK, Dillian Whyte has sold more pay-per-views than Tyson Fury has. You can check all the numbers yourself. Right, so now, if we look at this fight, one thing Bob Arum said was Dillian Whyte's not known in the US, so him asking for 10 million is a bit crazy, right? But numerous times, both him and Frank Warren stated that this would be a homecoming fight for Tyson Fury. This fight was billed as being a battle of Britain. It's a UK fight. It's a fight for the fans of the UK, right? So we don't care about whether he's a big name or not in the US, because this fight makes the most money here. That's like saying that Dimitri Bivol and Artur Beterbiev aren't big draws in America, so there's no point us doing the unification fight for them in America. But guess what? You do that unification fight in Russia, sells out a stadium. Why? Because that's where the money is. You send the fight where it makes the most money. This fight ultimately makes the most money over here. So guess what? Commercially, Dillian Whyte is a bigger entity than Tyson Fury in the UK. If we're talking pay-per-view sales. All right. Now, if we look at who's got the better resume, well, look, ultimately Tyson Fury has the best wins. No disputing that. Klitschko win. Wilder. All right, cool. Yeah, whatever people want to say. Klitschko and Wilder. Even you throw Chisora in there as well. Well, guess what? Both him and Dillian Whyte both got Chisora on their record twice. Dillian Whyte's got Povetkin on his. He's got Robert Helenius, who is the same guy that you're talking about now fighting in Manchester in your homecoming. The same Robert Helenius that Dillian Whyte beat back in, what was it, 2017? 2018? Like, so beat him, 4 years ago? But that's who you want to fight now as your homecoming fight. Oscar Rivas, obviously we know Olympian, hasn't really done a huge amount, but big credit. Joseph Parker, former heavyweight champion. I mean, outside of the Wilder fights, well, okay, you could maybe technically say he was a former champion in the third one, but there's no other big credible names on there. Like, if you look at our total body of work, Dillian Whyte's body of work is a lot more robust than Tyson Fury's. Tyson Fury has the better wins, so we'll give him that. He is clearly the A side in this because he is the champion. No doubt about that. But we're looking at this saying, Dillian should be lucky to get 20% based on the 300,000 that he put out to limited company, HMRC and all that. I can't really talk about that. Like, that was his choice. It was a dumb one, to be honest, but it is what it is, right? However, that doesn't change the fact that commercially, Tyson Fury cannot make anywhere near the same amount of money with anyone else in the UK other than Dillian Whyte, who is available right now. Can't do it with AJ because AJ's fighting Usyk. Their rematch is scheduled. There's no way you're going to break that. And I don't even know if you could do it with Usyk, because ultimately Usyk is the other unified champion and the people know Usyk most definitely, but is there the same intrigue as the two Brits with loud mouths and big entourages and colourful characters in the camps? I don't know if it's the same draw. So realistically, Dillian Whyte is who you make the most money with. You don't make a quarter of the money with Robert Helenius than you do with Dillian Whyte realistically, especially over here. In the US maybe, but you're not selling out over there anyway. We saw the amount of empty seats that was in Fury Wilder 3. Even Fury Wilder 2, there was empty seats. You had there was a great gate, sold 850k pay-per-views, but guess what? It never broke even. It made what, 68 million in pay-per-view, like in dollars, in sort of the pay-per-view sales. There was 2 guarantees of 30 million for both Fury and Wilder. Plus, then you have to take into effect there was like 2 Super Bowl ads or something, which was like 10 million a piece. So that makes it 48 million. So that's that marketing down. Plus the rest of the market, which was probably what, let's say another 2 or 3 million. So that's $45 million there. Plus the cost of hiring the venue and staff and what and all that sort of other stuff. I'm sure that's probably taking it down to what, 42, maybe 42 million. So you guys, and then the broadcasters, I think they then take 50% of whatever revenues you're supposed to get. So realistically, the whole event itself at best made about, say, $35 million, which just about would pay for one of the guarantees that they had. Bruce Trampler from Top Rank even said that the event lost money due to what was it, piracy and some other stuff. Like, so they already admitted that the fight lost money. So you can't even count on him being this bankable star, because so far he hasn't proved he's bankable anywhere in the UK or the US. Realistically, what did the first fight do? 325k sales before Top Rank and that got involved. Then the 850 but didn't break even and lost money. And then this last one was what, 450k, something like that. So yeah, they got some pay-per-view upside from this one because their guarantees were much lower. It was where their guarantee should have been. So had it not been for that second fight where both Fury and Wilder were overpaid and not able to generate the money they were being paid, realistically his bank sheet would be very much similar to where Dillian Whyte's is. He maybe would have made 25 million and Dillian would be on 15. So that's those things there. But the biggest point here, and I'm gonna go to a report that I've got here on my phone. Right, so someone sent me something, and I did a look of this anyway, but where is my mentions now? So on the WBC website itself, this is what's quoted. Now, what's this? I think section 2.12, division of proceeds in a purse offer. The net purse offer, after deductions of the WBC certification fees, shall be divided as follows. Section A, 70% for the champion and 30% for the challenger. Section B, 50% to each contender in the case of a vacant title or elimination bouts. Section C, 55% to the champion and 45% to the interim champion in the event of such a bout. Section D, notwithstanding the terms of subparagraphs A, B and C above, the Board of Governors may, in its discretion, and by a majority vote, modify the division of purse offer proceeds between boxers in a purse offer in unusual or special circumstances, like the consideration of outstanding marketing value of one of the boxers. So technically that doesn't fit Tyson Fury anyway. The modification of the split will be limited to 3 categories: 70-30%, 60-40% and 55-45% for the champion and challenger respectively, except in the most exceptional circumstances in which the split may be modified to 50-50. Now you tell me where in those rules does it say you can mandate an 80-20 split for the champion and challenger? The IBF has a 80-20, I believe. The WBA has, I think it's a 80-20 or a 75 25. There's one of them that's even has a 85-15 at some point, but none of those are WBC. That's coming from their own rules. So they're already in breach of their own code of ethics, their own rule book. Even if you look at, there's another clause in there where they say, look, we can, at our discretion, amend purses or whatnot, which is a bit further up. But ultimately, that is then superseded by what they've put in writing in the exact same section further down. So where are you going with 80-20? It's clear that right now you're just trying to shaft the man for absolutely no reason apart from maybe he's difficult. Now, yeah, cool. I get it. Some people are difficult. Some people you don't really want to deal with. But you've been taking his money all these years. Like you was protecting Wilder from him for all that time. And now what? You're either protecting Fury or you're lowballing. Like, no one don't rate you for these same. No one rates Bridgerweight. No one rates you for the countless Maishan, Tahikan, like domiciliary titles that you put up in every either Cinco de Mayo or any event that you just want to get some money for. The Black Lives Matter title, like, we don't rate none of that realistically. Now you pull this shit just after you trying to say that Devin Haney's your champion, your pride champion, for whatever that means, and that George Kambosos is undisputed, even though no other sanctioning body agrees with you, because Devin Haney has the belt that can be unified, where you have to petition for a franchise title to be put on the line. You don't petition for the WBC world title, but yet you're claiming that, like, everything you're doing makes no sense. And you, Mauricio Sulaiman, is one of the few Capricorns I don't endorse in it. There's him, there's Scrap, and there's a couple others that I won't mention on camera just for other reasons. I'm sure some people watching will know who I'm talking about. Personally, there might be nonsense, but professionally, A1, different story. But yeah, so that's that in a nutshell. They have no leg to stand on as far as I can see here. But this arbitration thing, my suspicion is they went through all of this to say, look, if you take your fight now, you can get your 25% because that's what you've already been offered. But if you try to make it go to arbitration, because we've already ruled that purse bids will take place at the 11th of January, if you then pull out of that, we can, I guess, legally uninstall you as the mandatory challenger because you've pulled out of a purse bid, which would then mean that they will never have to make you a mandatory again. I believe that's kind of the way it would work. And even then, if the arbitration did happen, I don't think the ruling would be enforceable because you had an opportunity and decided to ignore it. That's the worst case scenario, and that's what I think basically happens. But on the basis that, say for instance, the arbitration does happen and then the WBC are then bound by what that says afterwards, if I was Dillian, if he truly believes he's got a case, and I can't really see that you would bring this and like basically try to potentially ruin your whole career, especially all leading up to this one moment. I can't imagine you would do any of that unless you and your lawyers had something they believed was airtight. So if it doesn't mean that you get uninstalled and can never challenge again, and the arbitration, you know, you're going to win portion. They've already won part of it anyway, because that's the reason why the WBC even made the declaration that Dillian would be the mandatory, Because remember, before at their convention they said there's an arbitration going on, so we can't name him as mandatory. All of a sudden, a week or 2 weeks later, he was named as mandatory. So there must be something there that he's already won. But with regards to this bit now, if I was him, if the fight was guaranteed, like no matter what happens, I'm guaranteed, this is literally just about what split I get, and I believe it to be fair, I would probably say, all right, in March, go through the hearing. In the meantime, take a warm-up fight against someone, preferably someone sort of tall and maybe move that, basically a Fury-like opponent. Maybe even rematch Robert Helenius or something like that. But take a fight, because he hasn't been in the ring since, when was it, January? Or was it between January and March of earlier on this year? He ain't been in the ring since then. So having a year out before this fight happens isn't the best preparation for having the biggest fight of your life. So realistically, I would say that would be what I would do. I would take a warm-up the same time that Fury's going to want to take his warm-up, and then arrange for that fight to happen like the end of May, the start of June, or something like that, if I know I'm going to get the splits done and sort of get that out of the way. If, however, you're not confident in the arbitration, realistically, suppose what we've been told is there's, look, 5.5 million plus a 25% pay-per-view upside that's on the table now from Top Rank. Realistically, because now we know what the splits are, you're not going to get better than that, unless you then bank on saying, all right, make it 28% and 7 million and I'll accept. Otherwise, I'll take it to purse bids, and I know that you guys are both going to get outbidded. So even if I'm only getting 20%, I'll get 20% of a lot more than what you're offering for the fight. Those are the two options. Now that's a tricky one, because we all know that Tyson Fury loves to chuck a belt away, and there's almost no chance in hell that Bob Arum will allow him to fight on DAZN. He might allow him to fight on Sky Sports, because they're their broadcast partners over here. BT ain't got it in the budget. Frank Warren definitely ain't got the budget to win that purse bid, so it would be between DAZN, ESPN and Sky. That would maybe be my option. That's what I would say. I would say to Dillian, look, if they're not gonna offer you better than what they've offered you now, because $5.5 million is the equivalent of what he's already earned in pounds anyway, for his last 2 fights. So you're offering that for a title fight. Don't make no sense. Highly disrespectful. I would then say, you know what, I'll take it to purse bids, even at 80-20. So you know what, fuck it, 80-20, but I know my 20% here, I'm going to make more than what you've offered me anyway, guaranteed, because more than just Top Rank and DAZN will bid for that fight, because commercially it makes money in quite a few places. So I can see him earning a higher percentage of that 20. That's what I would do personally. If I can't trust the arbitration, I'll say, you know what, either up your offer to 30%, or I'm taking 20% of whatever purse bid comes in, and the purse bid will definitely be of a higher monetary value. So yeah, that's my take on it. Like, WBC just be doing the same old bullshit. Like, I'm tired of them. The green belt doesn't mean what it used to mean, and quite frankly, if I was Dillian Whyte, if I won that, first thing I do, I'll probably throw it down and stamp on it in the middle of the ring, just because, just to make a statement, because you're still the WBC champion in the day. You don't have to carry it out in the following fight. You say you're the champion, go into the undisputed fight, can have the belt can be awarded but you can, you know, you don't have to accept it. And then as soon as, if you won Undisputed, for instance, the first thing you do, take the WBC, throw it in the bin, or even throw it in the crowd. Like, do something, you know, major. Say, I'm undisputed, but I don't give a damn about this belt anymore. Like, you've pissed me off. You've taken like some of the best years of my life and my career. You've dicked around, like, you fucked me over, and now I'm going to do the same thing back to you. That's probably how I'd handle it, but maybe someone a little smarter than me might do it differently. Right, anyway, that's my takes on what's been going on with Dillian and Tyson and the WBC. I'll leave it there. I'll probably do another quick roundup. Monday the 3rd of January will be the next video. So what I will say for now is, as most of you will probably watch this on the 1st, Happy New Year, Happy Capricorn year, Happy Capricorn season, and your boy Capricorn Base the Kid officially signing out for 2021. And as always, spend it with your loved ones. Hopefully no one ain't caught the vid, and if you have, like, remain safe, remain healthy, share this time with your loved ones and all that good stuff. But for now, hardcore casual.